I have a friend of mine from Florida who likes, loves, cares for Ron DeSantis. And I'm always getting these emails from him. Hey, be nice to Ron DeSantis. I said, first of all, who are you? I mean, I know who he is, but who are you telling me to be nice to somebody, number one? Number two, I can say anything I want. Number three, are you paying attention to what's happening to Ron DeSantis? Are you following this? Are you getting this? Do you understand what's happening here? Do you see once and for all what's happening regarding Ron DeSantis? He is hitting the wall. And you might say, well, it's too early. Fine. He's hitting the wall. Why are you not recognizing this? And it goes to show you, we see things that we want. We see things that we want, and we craft things accordingly. Look at this. There are friends of mine who said, look at everywhere Trump goes, the amount of the incredible reaction people have to him. Yes, those are his fans. Well, obviously, no, you don't understand. Those are his fans. So you are looking at the reaction of him to his fans. If you had a Hollywood reaction to Joe Biden, could you extrapolate that to the rest of the country? No. And you wouldn't. But when people see things, this is why observational bias is so critical. When people see things that they like, they will change their perspective to have it verify and bolster what they want to be true. I can't say this enough to you. That's why double-blind testing is so critical, and that's why people need this. Now, you got to add some provisos. It's a little early, but in 100 and whatever days, the voting starts. The momentum should start to be felt. It's like when the way trains pick up. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but in freight trains and long chained trains, you will see if the locomotive takes off like this, the couplings will break and that's it. Because it cannot possibly, the weight of the tons and tons, literally, of train will hold back. No matter how strong this locomotive is, the bracket will break. And that's critical. The bracket will break. That's the important thing. So what it does is it kind of moves slowly, and it picks up momentum because it realizes there is a while that it takes for it to start moving. Well, already people are starting to see Ron DeSantis is not working. And then the feedback loop begins. The feedback loop and the return. So what you're saying is he starts off kind of They start saying it. You start seeing the left, their radicalized media, they're overreacting. They don't know what to say. They have no idea what to say. So they're saying, well, this is too early because either they do or don't want him, depending upon what day it is. They're not really sure. Maybe they figure Trump's better, stronger. I don't know. In any event, whenever you hear somebody say big money, the big money out there says, Wall Street and all these folks, even this Bill Ackman to an extent, they never know anything about politics. There was a time, remember, when Trump beat everybody in 2016, the big money then was Jeb Bush, Mitt Romney, that kind of crew. That's where the big money was. That's where the power. It didn't work. They don't know anything about this. Try your best to be able to figure things out and know what works. Pride yourself in knowing how trends occur, what fashions work, what fads work, what music kicks on, and what the messaging is. always listen to new phrases. Notice how everybody wants to unpack everything now. It just changes. They go from week to week. Circle back. Remember Jen Psaki wanted to circle back. Everybody was, hey guys, hi guys. Remember that? No worries. No worries was a big thing. Listen to everything. Don't make the mistake of confusing what you want and what you view as being correct with what's happening. I can't say this enough. I see what's happening with what they're doing to the Sound for Freedom. I understand it. But I can't explain to people because I've seen this a million times. What I think has no opinion, makes no difference, but I see what's happening. Ford Frey says, saw Sound of Freedom yesterday. What an intense and moving film. Please go see it, get educated, and spread the word, and pay it forward. I did, and I enjoyed helping to piss off Hollywood. Ford, thank you. That is precisely right. By the way, Rotten Tomatoes gave it what, honey? 99%? They loved it. People, you can't let these folks say these things. You can't let... There's a couple of things here. Let me go back to something which is important. Remember when you were in high school, maybe when you were in high school, there were people who thought they were cool. And they weren't, but they thought they were. And the cool people had cool friends who thought they were cool. And the cool people had cool friends who thought they were cool. And consequently, excuse me, when they were acting cool and doing their cool stuff, they would look to each other and say, well, we're cool, we're right, because they would move in a swarm or a pack. That's it. You got it? They just would move in these moves. Okay, fine. Now, what's interesting to note out of all of this nonsense, and this is critical to note, very, very critical to note, Hollywood is dying. Let me explain something to you, and let me make sure you understand this 100%. Since the beginning of most recent time, Hollywood, Detroit, the big three, you know what I mean? There were these institutional aspects of our culture that were given. Hollywood believed that they controlled the show. They were it. And then when they had studios, when you had Jack Warner and you had all these people, not only did they control everything, they controlled law and order. They worked hand in hand with the government. But in terms of propaganda, World War II, these were patriots, by the way. Look no further than HUAC, House Un-American Activities Committee. Look at that. They've always been intertwined. Intel, police, but in a different way. This was, for lack of a better word, right wing. I'm just going to use some shorthand. Conservative, patriotism. Different story. Also, since the beginning of time, and I don't know where this started, but sometimes certain mentalities can start and be created. The level of debauchery, victimization, predation, what they did to women, children, actors, Hollywood was a rat's nest of depravity. Understand the difference. You can be a bit of a libertine. You can be concupiscent. You can be somebody who is a rake, a roue, a playboy. You can be sexually adventurous. You could be whatever. That's one thing. Predatory is another. Especially when it comes to children. And you will never, ever, ever even remotely get the closest truth as to Shirley Temple. Go back to, really, if you want to see this going, what they did to Judy Garland, Mickey Rooney, Jackie Cooper, anybody at the time. Kids were commodities. They were just, as was anybody who came along who wanted to come to Hollywood. There were casting calls. Louis B. Mayer. Go down the list. And people you've never heard of from Irving. I don't know about Irving Thalberg, but if I mention that, it's a big name. But from Pickfair. Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin, always affected by his early childhood. He was classically, his focus was always young. This is Charlie Chaplin. Now, young doesn't necessarily mean illegal, but this is... Now, when you're Charlie Chaplin, now listen to this dynamic. When you're Charlie Chaplin, and you are an international star, and people will do whatever you want, he also sets the stage. And people may say, well, believe it or not, I guess in order to fit in, I can be a debauched lech too. During the 60s, right around the time, I don't know who the first rock stars who trash places. I don't know if it was Led Zeppelin or, I think it was Led Zeppelin, probably Keith Moon, and that's when they started to trash things, because the real drunks, the real bad stuff. Druggies didn't do this. Druggies were stoned, and the Stones I don't think did that, but it was right around that time. So that became, the wild troop is in town. Okay, fine. They did that. And then that started to pick up. Any little momentum. Groupies have always been a part of it, but groupies hit critical mass right around there. In the world of professional wrestling, they were called arena rats or rats. These were the girls who followed the wrestlers from... so it became... All of this started from Hollywood and what was cool and what you did to fit in and say, well, I guess this is the way it is. In the 50s, in particular, Marlon Brando changed everything. Marlon Brando was the first time of the kind of the beatnik weirdo. Marlon Brando, James Dean, the weird intellectual who didn't fit in, the guy who was not one of the gang, a bit of a freak, bit of a you know what I mean? How do I say this? Just all of these trends, and then everybody did it. Then came the Hellraisers, Richard Harris, Oliver Reed, Peter O'Toole, I think Peter Finch. These were the British. These were the hellions. We didn't really have this here. It didn't catch on as much. But in the British scene, and the next thing you know, everybody was a drunk. Everybody was out of their mind. Was it? Not Trevor Howard. I'm trying to think of this. Do you see what I'm saying here? Let's go back. When you're in an organization, and you're trying to fit in, and you enter this world of Hollywood, A-list, B-list, whatever, you look around, and if you want to sit there and maintain your certified entrance into this world, and you're maintaining old-fashioned, respectable values, you could forget it. You could forget it. You're not going to fit in. If you want to have them say, oh, you're one of us, I feel comfortable with you, okay. The 60s, I would venture to say that what would probably blow your mind, and not in a good way, would be Warren Beatty, Jack Nicholson, 60s, into this weird kind of a strange debauch. Remember what killed the 60s? Charles Manson. And I'm not even sure if it's Charles Manson. That's another story. So understand, let me go back to this. Within every group of people, within every group, whether it's the NBA. Remember the NBA wives? NBA stars today, NFL today. You want to fit into this world. You want to be a rapper? Try being a rapper today and go out. Don't curse, don't cuss. Talk about Jesus and your faith and forget it. You're done. You will look around and say, I will do everything and anything, up to and including pulling all my teeth and replacing them with titanium pegs, covering every inch of my body with tattoos, shave my head, cut my hair, remove it. I will do whatever I want. This is Hollywood. And they move en masse. They move in murmurations. They move. I was reading an article that was so stupid. I'm not going to mention the name for reasons I can't tell you why I can't mention it, but I can't. And whoever wrote it was a moron. And I know it was a moron. But trying to say, to signal, I'm still one of you. It's like the dog in the perimeter of your property. I'm here. Okay, you got it. So all of a sudden, let me explain this to you. This sound of freedom. So we have this group. And deep down inside, most people in Hollywood really could not care less, don't know about it, don't care about it, but they will say whatever they have to say. You also have these legions of people desperately trying to stand out in a world where they're just being outnumbered. Imagine this. Imagine a time-lapse picture. Imagine this. Somebody first shows up to Woodstock. He's up in Saugerties or wherever the hell they were. He shows up and he and his girlfriend are there and they got there first. And then there's a time lapse. And you see it grow into 500,000 or whatever it was. So that's who these people are now. These people desperately making nothing at once important publication houses and titles and names, and desperately. So they are saying, listen, I don't know what to do. What do I do? Here's what you can do. You got the memo, right? Trash sound of freedom. Okay. What do I say about it? Say this. Boom. These 4 things. Okay. But jazz it up in your own way. Give me a phrase. Give me something that's quotable. Remember, we live in a kind of a hashtag world. Give me something fast. But this is the official narrative. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, got it. Okay, good. I got it. And then the next thing you know, you got it? Oh, that's good. Pick up the phone. Okay, send it out. And then all of the other people in the clique will refer it, will copy it, will whatever it is, and it will go viral, thus giving you the impression that it's an idea that is widely accepted. It takes off. The momentum is so simple. You just push. It's like this train. A little bit here, a little bit here. But here's the best part. And I want you to listen to me. Going back to my Woodstock analogy. When you get in your car on that day of August, 1969, and you started driving 5 miles, nobody knew Woodstock was going on. Nobody heard of it. Nobody was there. The world was not at Woodstock. The world didn't know anything about Woodstock. Half of Woodstock was just kind of this mythical, magical afterwards. They say, by the way, if everybody who was at Woodstock was actually there who says they were there, it would be the size of Texas. But the point is, relative to where you are, you think this is the biggest deal in the world. No. Most people know really nothing about Sound of Freedom. They don't know anything about what some obscure writer. They don't know. You know this. You're in this. We're in this. And then you got this group, and listen to me very carefully. This is the one you don't hear about. This is the one you don't hear about. And this is the one that gets me. I understand the negative people. I got it. Jim Caviezel associated with Mel Gibson, Catholic, right? I got it. Do they really mind? Do they really think that human trafficking discussion is somehow right-wing? Yeah. What would you do if something happened to your child? Oh, I'd go crazy. Okay, so you're just saying this. Yes. Okay, I understand. You got to say this. Of all the things in the world, can't we talk about... Are you in favor of child trafficking? I mean, they don't even think this. They are so desperate. You got to understand something. This thing is done. They don't know it yet. It's that star that blew up millions and millions of years ago, and the light hasn't hit here yet. And they don't know. I've got a friend of mine, I'm not going to mention his name, obviously, whose son said, hey, I got a job with so-and-so. And I laughed. I said, oh, dear God. I said, maybe Look magazine, do they have any open? Oh, that's right, Look's closed. Well, so is this. They don't understand that it's changed. But listen to me carefully. Here's the group that I'm very upset with. And this is the one that I expect this from them. I know what they're going to say. I got it. Many of us have been with the program, so to speak, for a long time. We've been kind of in the shadows. We've been called everything you can imagine. Everything. And it doesn't really bother us. And I'm kind of used to being a little bit alone. Be honest with you. I knew that the issues that made the most sense to me were pretty much not accepted or known by a lot of people. I remember the time during the Libya, when I said that Benghazi is an Al-Qaeda stronghold, and they looked at me and I said, you know what, it's kind of fun being the only one who understands this. I mean, not the only one, but relatively the only one. I told you all of a sudden for the first time now people are talking about geoengineering. I've been talking about that for so long now, and it felt kind of good in a way because the only people who talked to me were people who knew the subject. When 5G came out, not the current 5G, but the original 5G discussion, it was wonderful having people, and I kept saying, this is what amazed me, do you not see 5G? No. The tower is right there. Do you wonder what that is? No. You don't know? Do you know what they're spraying? No. I mean, it was the weirdest thing. Do you know where Afghanistan is? Do you know why? No, they knew nothing. So it was easy for me to be the only one in this group. Now, all of a sudden, somebody comes along and they say, guess what? I want to be a conspiracist. I like this. I like that guy's podcast. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? I like it. How many know? Ooh, that's good. Yeah. What is he talking about? Pedophiles. Is that what he's talking about? Is that a hot topic? Is that good? Okay, I'm in. Count me in. What do I need to know? Have you studied this? No. But count me in. Years ago, it was the gun people. Remember one time there was a picture of Ann Coulter holding a rifle? She looked like she'd never seen a rifle. I mean, not that she would hold it the wrong way, but she obviously did it to say, look, I'm wearing my capri pants on the deck of my New Canaan home, and I'm firing a rifle. I mean, it was because she wanted to be this Second Amendment advocate. It was part of this thing she wanted to be. So there are these people now who say, okay, what is this? Well, this Sound of Freedom is good, human trafficking. Really? Oh, you're in on this now? Oh, I see. Now, how long have people like Mrs. L and others, and myself included, but in particular, people that were not laughed at, but just ignored. Say, what are you talking about? Human trafficking? What? But hers was a more nuanced message. No, but it's digital safety, it's digital trafficking. They didn't want to have anything to do with this because it was about Trump and it was about whatever it was. Nobody went, even though Trump did more for this subject than anyone else. Nobody talked about it. In fact, sometimes, and I saw this, people would roll their eyes. Oh, God, are you talking about this again? You and your human... What is with you and this? You and your kids? And Mrs. L would always say, I want to talk about kids trafficked here in this country. Oh, they're not... Look, we'll buy into what you're saying, but only if it's, South America. No. Or only if you can work it into the border. Well, that's a part of it, but no, I was here first. Nobody wanted anything to do with it. Nobody. Well, that changed. Just like Hollywood all of a sudden said, oh, you want the debauched drunkard? I'm in. Oh, you want the concubus? Oh, I'm in. Oh, you want... Now, everybody is stampeding each other to be the first of the mic to set their sword into the ground and say, I hereby claim not human trafficking, not digital safety, not legislation, pedophiles. That's their version of it. That's it. That's it. It's like one time I remember a friend of mine who all of a sudden said, I'm really getting into this Second Amendment thing. Oh, that's interesting. Why? Bump stocks. Bump stocks. Well, what about the Second Amendment? Well, I don't know about that issue. But this issue, I'm interested in. Bumps, that was their version of, okay, am I in this stuff? No, you're not in it. That's not it? No. That's like my friend who one time said, I want to be a vegan. Can I have chicken? I said, this isn't going anywhere. She wanted the label, but didn't want the commitment, didn't want to know what it is. So let me tell you what's going on right now. Everything that you can imagine, if I did not know better, if you want to destroy the movement, if you want to destroy all of the good work and focused energy on against human trafficking, don't enlist some half-baked lefty author from some magazine nobody reads anymore. No. Empower some right-wing conspiracy lunatic. He'll destroy it for you. He'll destroy it. He'll destroy it. Because you want to scare people. Don't have them talk about, well, here's what's happening right now. The UN, by the way, which has acknowledged this, in this particular instance, in this particular case, in this particular story, and it's being done locally with a sex worker thing. That would be the rational approach. Oh, no. Get somebody with a beret or somebody who does a website or somebody who's got numbers and talk about satanic rituals and whatever it is and blood ceremonies and use the word pedophile every 5 seconds. The numbers go crazy. People get into it because it's like rubbernecking, like an accident. Like, ooh, this sounds exciting. What is this? And the cause is destroyed. The cause is destroyed. And let me also tell you something. And I'm speaking for myself, not for Mrs. L, not for anybody else. Lay off this God and Jesus and the Michael the Archangel and Satan. You're making this sound medieval. It's very simple. When you make things... One time somebody said, you know why trafficking in endangered species, almost like the movie The Freshman in a way, but like, for example, shark fins, and this and that. Is it because of the money? Rhino horns. Do you think the African citizens, whatever, with rifles, have a thing against rhinoceri or no? It's that. Oh, that's the money. I'll take it. Whatever you want. You want eagles' beaks? You want manatee skins? What do you want? We'll get it for you. So somebody tried to make the argument one time that we live in a speciesist, that this is speciesism. And I said, no, you moron. It's not about speciesism. It's about somebody making a lot of money doing this stuff. You don't understand. And by the way, you just jumped in on the topic. And there have been people that have been waiting in line to get to the front of the line to explain the complexity of this, and you're ruining it with your website or your podcast or whatever it is, and you're jumping way ahead, and your version is that this is speciesism. Now let me just make something very, very clear. You can think whatever you want. My version of this is very simple. There's nothing. If you go into this stuff, stop talking about blood rituals. Stop talking about Satan and Moloch and, just enough. You're making this seem stupid. And I can't tell people what to say. But there's a lot of morons out there who said, hey, guess what? I like this. You know what? I'll tell you what. My site, my numbers were but now I'm the expert on pedophilia, and I am going through the roof. I'm going to be speaking at events. I'm writing a book. Who the hell are you? Doesn't matter. Nobody asked for credentials. This works. You got it? This works. That's what drives me crazy. That's how you kill it. That's how you kill it. Let me give you an example. If I wanted, and I was never really sure about how complicated this drag queen dancing stuff was. But if I wanted to really hurt it, I would get a number of people who were released from prison for, let's say, sexual transgressions, and have them meet together and teach them drag performance as a way of addressing the inner demons. And then the headline would be, ex-sex offenders are at the heart of the drag performance. And I would spread it. And the drag folks would say, wait a minute, who's this? Well, those are your supporters. No, they're not my supporters. Well, they say you're supporters. Well, wait a minute. No. You see how this works? It's almost like an agent provocateur, not a false flag, but it's we have these people who all of a sudden, the same way we're being hit with vaccine experts overnight. People who barely graduated from junior college, with all due respect, are vaccinologists, virologists. They know all about mRNA. They know about gene therapy. They know everything. They know that this was all about Bill Gates in a nanotechnology Malthusian Bentham-esque depopulation. Or what are you talking about? Where did you? Well, I've got it right here. I'll send you the YouTube. What? Yeah, this guy says it. Who's this guy? I don't know. There's no critical thing to say, oh, I like that. Look at the numbers. Okay. That's where we are right now. And I realize people are trying to do a good thing. And I realize that what I'm saying is not supported by a lot of people. But there's an interview with Jim Caviezel, I think it was a Sean Ryan, and it is the creepiest thing I've ever seen. And the problem is that God can beat Satan and God and the power of the... Oh my God. You see what's happening? They're creeping everybody out. It looks like some kind of lunatic fringe. Do you not understand what this is about? Do you not get? Somebody was talking one time about fentanyl. Let me give you an example. Fentanyl, which we don't talk about anymore. Fentanyl is being made and sold in China by people who are trying to kill us. It was designed to kill us. And yet, do you know what the argument was I heard? It was because of it's that crazy libertarian, pro-drug thing. They asked Bobby Kennedy, what drugs would you legalize? One of the stupidest questions ever. Is it against the law to possess cyanide? Let's assume you're pulled over, you're arrested, whatever it is, they do an inventory search, and they find on you cyanide. not in a Tylenol, not about to be exchanged for whatever, but just possession of cyanide. In many cases, it's not against the law. It is the most I don't know what is and isn't more deadly than cyanide. Is cyanide prohibited? No. And you're asking Bobby Kennedy, would you prohibit fentanyl? You're not prohibiting cyanide. Is it the fentanyl? What is it? Do you think if I say, okay, we'll call it something else? Just like the geniuses like Justice Roberts who say, I'm going to destroy or eliminate affirmative action. Now, if you want to write an article that says how you as a non-binary person of color with a Hispanic surname, trans, whatever, had some problems, that's okay. But we're not going to include race. Oh, okay. See, I don't fit in this world right here. I don't fit in. The left is crazy, the right's crazy, the right's crazy, the left is crazier. And these new people who all of a sudden, by the way, when you see Sound of Freedom, here is the thing. And let me see if I can make this very clear. And I appreciate people who go to see it. I don't want you to go to say, hey, we're going to make Hollywood crazy, which is, I realize, a lot of fun. What are you going to do? Are you going to get a hold of your elected official to say, what are you doing about human trafficking that's going on in our country? Well, I never thought about that. Yeah. You want to drive the left crazy? Have your politicians say, I got to do something about this. So who do we have? Who do we have speaking on our behalf? Tim Ballard, good for him. Jim Caviezel, Mel Brooks, Mel Gibson, Trump. Who else? Maybe, Stallone did a movie about that one time. Now, with all due respect, and I respect the man as a person, do you think Jim Caviezel's the best spokesperson, the best ambassador for this issue? Are you kidding me? The Passion of the Christ? That guy? That's not what I want. I want somebody who's real middle of the road. I want Taylor Swift to say, this isn't right. What was that? Yeah. I want somebody who's their favorite. That's what I want. Not the usual stuff. Because the right loves to talk to themselves. I send you a video, you send a video to me. Oh, this is great. Oh, this is good. Oh, Jack Probiotics said something is great. Oh, wow, that's great. Well, did you see turn away or turning point or whatever? Oh, that's great. Hey, Mark, this is like this little fan circle. This is great. We're right. We're smart. We're cool. What are you doing? What are you doing? What's going on here? I've got a friend of mine who keeps sending me the same. She has two websites she looks at. She just sends me articles. Like, what are you sending me these articles for? I said, nobody's reading this. I know you're not going to want to hear this, but I'm going to say this to you. As interesting as reptilian investigations and talks about reptilian stuff, David Icke, fascinating man. Alex Jones, fascinating. If you think you're going to make any headway in this world by talking about reptilian possession, I have no hope for you. I have no hope for you. None. If you think, honest to God, that you are so consumed in your own little world of this, whatever it is, it's never going to get outside. Do you know when the Vietnam War really changed? Do you know when it really got serious? When the people who started to protest were nuns, grandmas, grandpas, regular folks, not the Jane Fonda, not the long hairs, just regular folks like, oh my God. Now it's mainstream. If an issue isn't mainstream, it'll never happen. Never. And the reason why nobody cares about Joe Biden's cocaine White House is because it's never gotten to mainstream. The guy in the middle, the most important, your audience, doesn't understand it yet, hasn't hit it, because you're too busy getting your clicks and your media, whatever. You have no interest. I want that person there. I want him to say, oh, I see this. I understand this. I see. You never bludgeon, you never beat somebody over the head with something. You never, ever, ever do it. We don't care about that. There are people who say, isn't Marjorie Taylor Greene great? She's an idiot. She's just lost. When you're kicked out of your... See, nobody... Let me ask you a question. True question. Do you think it's a good idea for Trump to be at UFC stuff, to be hanging around with Dana White, Roger Stone, whoever these people are? Do you think, and this is important, and I want you to think about this, is this a good move? I have nothing but respect for these people and what they've done. Oh, it may not be why you think that is. It may be for reasons that are completely different. I've got no problem with that. But you're running for president. Is that what you do? Do you? Would you say, that's very good, continue to go there? Yes. Do more of those rallies. And do you think that helps the election? Not helps your core, but helps the election. Do you think putting out a video on blood rituals and satanic, whatever it is, will help stop human trafficking? Do you think so? Do you? If you do, there's no hope for you. Do you think Jim Caviezel, who did he put that movie out for? Who? Himself? I don't think so. I think he's serious. When you have him sitting across those Sean, whatever his name is, and they're exchanging rosaries and talking about, the Holy Spirit. Okay, that's great stuff. Do you think that all of a sudden you can hear all of the locks coming off the door of these imprisoned children because of that? Or did that just say, this is not? They don't know how to sell anything. They don't know how to sell anything. They go right. They think that if McDonald's said, I want everybody to come here. I don't want to, I don't know how to say this. I don't give a damn whether you like what I say, appreciate what I say. Doesn't matter. I want to win this thing. And if later on you say, you know what? I don't know. I've got nothing but respect for these people, but you are not going to do this. You are not going. Let me give you an example. If I ran for office, and I'm going to just say this very quickly. If I ran for office, I would not bring up the fact that I want to expose UFOs. I can kiss my candidacy goodbye. Even though I'm interested, even though there are millions of people who are fascinated by it, I'm done. I come across like a nut. If somebody were to run for office and pull out some type of a shaman head thing and start shaking a thing and saying something in Aramaic or whatever, you're done. Even though that's wonderful, laudable, you've just ruined it. I can't explain this anymore. And Ron DeSantis, which is where we started with, doesn't understand that his wife, he's sending out his wife to do his work for him, and she is creepy and doesn't appeal to everyone across the board. people identify, well, I like her, so what? It's not the point. Nobody has ever yet had apparently nobody figures out critical thinking where I don't care what I think. Who cares what I think? This isn't going to work. This isn't going to sell. This isn't going to sell. Because when I'm running for office, I've got my people. Trump will never lose his people no matter what. Trump is never going to win the left. So in the middle, there's this group of people. Let me ask you something. When Trump walks in, I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to be shocked at me for saying this. Do you think the MAGA red hat helps Trump? Or does it alienate him? Has the red hat, has the MAGA Make America Great, has that become a symbol of something else? Does that go after that person who was maybe not sure, but who might want to join? Do you think that helps? I'm going to leave you with that. I think you know what I think about that. And what I'm saying you think sounds heretical? No. Because the person in the middle, the person you're trying to get a hold of, the person you're trying to win over, you're not even considering them. You're not even considering them. Now, let me just start off by saying this again. There are more people than you will ever know who silently, quietly, hard, every day, day in and day out, try their best to get people to understand. One time years ago, Mrs. L, her first venture was to have a day on Capitol Hill. It was one of the biggest things anybody. There are people who didn't do a damn thing. We did it all ourselves. I mean to tell you, there was nothing. There was no organization. There was nothing. Nobody helped with anything. And when you get the room, you got to buy the food, and you got to go to this. Okay, fine. You know, at the very end, so help me God. At the very end, we were the last people there. We were the last people in the Capitol. There was one guy on a ladder with a vacuum cleaner. He was, statuary hall thing. We walked out. There was nobody there. And the people who were there didn't even say, "Can we help you clean up?" They said, "Hey, y'all want to go out to eat?" And I mean nothing. But boy, when it came time to take pictures, they came out of the woodwork. Oh, man. And I realized, what a bunch of phony. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Maybe one person, maybe two people. And then from that, there's a lot of other people you've never heard of before. People with organizations, people who are really good and really smart. But they don't talk about blood rituals and creepy stuff, and they don't scare anybody. They sit down with the facts. That's what's going to win this battle. Reality, not this shaman showman nonsense. This is Mrs. L's. Oops. Hang on. Damn it. This is Mrs. L's YouTube sign up link right there. I'm going to do it one more time. I want everybody here to go to it and sign up for it. No screaming. No yelling. No. I have been through this thing like you cannot believe. I have seen every iteration. I have seen, and I learned, I have seen seemingly innocent stuff go crazy. One time, I'm going to say something, and I'm just going to leave it, and you might remember this. But this is the example I give. There was something called, I believe it was either the Wiener laptop or the Hillary laptop, but it was a story that took on such legs. People swear by it, and nothing, I don't know. I know the purported story. And I realized, wow. And it works on both sides. It works on both, sides. And the sad part is that in the middle, this group I'm trying to get, there's a very rational American. But the right is filled with people who are children, who, honest to God, they live in a kind of a playground world of something or other. I was explaining to somebody the other day. I said, January 6th. I said, what was the point of that? What do you think? What were you trying to accomplish? What was, the invited us in. What were you doing there? Look around you. Do you see these people? What message were you conveying to the average guy who said, can I hear about your problem with the certification of the vote? Who's that guy? He's got a spear. What's going on with it? I don't care. We're right. Gadsden flag, live free or die. The blood of the tree of liberty and all this. This is great. If you just want to have a website or a channel, but if you want to actually make differences, no. And then the biggest joke of them all, and I'm going to leave you with this. When you really want to see how phony these people are, look at these huge groups when people show up. They have events. Liberty, Americans for whatever it is, something. And then you have, look, there's Judge Janine. Oh, look, there's probiotic. Oh, and they say, who is this? Nobody ever went to the mall to see Dr. King. Said, the Berrigan brothers are going to be there. It's Harry Belafonte. I mean, there might have been one or two, but it was the message. Today it's, no, we don't know, whatever the message is. I like this. I'm going to put my hat on, get my MAGA hat, get my buttons, get my flag. I'm going to go, and I'm going to talk. Can I get a picture with you? Oh, is that who it was? What is going on here? These are stars to you? What have they said? Well, nothing really. My stars, my heroes, I don't even think you've heard of their names before. I don't think you've heard of them. That's why I know, I don't fit in. And I recognize that. And I'm not changing, and I'm not budging. So, you have a great and a glorious day. Follow Mrs. L. Do this. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not kidding around. I'm not here for any of this. I don't care about half of the stuff I'm hearing. Somewhere, some way, somebody is going to get the message. Lionel, you're doing a great job. I appreciate your insights. Thank you. Thank you, Glenn Hughes. Thank you for this. Thank you. I told you what I would like to do one time is to have a little thing called a boot camp. But I will tell you this much. The guy who is making, not perfect, I understand that, but the person who's making the most positive effects is Bobby Kennedy. Without a doubt. And don't take it the wrong way. That's not saying a whole hell of a lot because these people are just kind of crazy. That's all. Please follow Mrs. L. There it is right there. One more time. That is her website, or her YouTube channel. And by the way, speaking of people who are out there doing a good job, our great sponsor, MyPillow.com. There it is. There's a link right there. Support them, support us, support sleeping and luxuriating. You don't get enough sleep. I know you don't. You don't get it because Americans think sleep is somehow laziness or something like napping. What? Oh, no. All these experts in seed oils, you never hear about sleep. You never talk about that. Isn't that funny? All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. We'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Remember, think. And don't forget this valedictory. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.